All the strong and successful people of this world successfully use this tool. If you don't learn how to use it, you will lose a lot in your life. Today, I would like to talk to you about loneliness, what benefits it brings, and how much it affects your effectiveness. Most people spend their days chasing success. They are busy. They have every minute scheduled. They hang out all the time. They spend all their time in society, sometimes in the office, then at meetings, forums, events, etc. They think that the more time they spend with people doing business, the more effective they are. I have a few friends myself who don't like being alone, and when I suggest they go out to the step, they always say they're busy. I usually grin at this and say, "You're not really busy, but you're afraid of loneliness and freedom." Why is loneliness so important? I have noticed that many successful and strong people often use this tool and are regularly left alone with themselves. Today, I would like to share with you 7 basic tips or life hacks on how to use loneliness for your own good and what exactly it gives in your life. Loneliness brings us back to naturalness. During loneliness, we come to ourselves and are forced to be honest because we have no one to prove anything to and do not need to keep the mark. We can be as natural as possible and cannot deceive ourselves because there is no point in trying to pretend to be something else. One of the reasons why many people are afraid of loneliness is that they live in a world of illusions and they are afraid to look at themselves and their problems directly. Therefore, at least for the sake of this point, do not avoid loneliness. It brings you back to yourself and your true self. Loneliness restores harmony between mind and heart. It restores the connection between your brain and your soul. When you strive for something, you want to achieve something. Without harmony between consciousness and subconsciousness, or between mind and heart, it's unlikely to work. Internal contradictions will tear you apart, and you will become indecisive in your actions, to do one way or another. For successful progress, the harmony of mind and heart, as well as the agreement of consciousness with the subconscious mind, is extremely important. Loneliness is the very tool that helps bring this harmony back. The ability to check the compass. 4 controllers. When you are alone, you have the opportunity to check your compass with 4 controllers at once. 1. The Almighty. When you're alone, you can imagine what you look like in His eyes and what you think He thinks of you. Try to take 15 minutes or an hour alone and reflect on what God thinks about your life and actions. 2. Your conscience. Only when you're alone can you really hear it. Stay alone with yourself. Listen to your heart, your conscience. It will tell you whether you are acting correctly or not. In the daily hustle and bustle, the voice of conscience is often drowned out, and loneliness makes it possible to hear it. 3. Other people's opinions. During loneliness, you can imagine what you look like from the outside, what people will say about you. A useful exercise is to imagine what people will say about you at your funeral. Such thoughts allow you to look at yourself soberly, and this is also possible only alone with yourself. 4. Your dreams. This is the dreamer or child inside you. Only when you are alone can you talk to him and ask if you have realized what you dreamed of. Make sure to take the time to chat with this inner dreamer child. Loneliness helps you figure out your true intentions. Ask yourself the following questions. Who am I? Why do I live? Where am I going? What am I doing? In our daily rush, we often commit acts and do not think about our intentions. There is a goal, and we are moving towards it. But people judge by deeds, and God judges by intentions. A simple example. A child was running with hot tea, tripped and spilled it on you. You jump up, scream, and he just wanted to quickly bring tea to mom. You condemned the actions without knowing the intent. In many religions, there is a clear formulation about good and bad intentions. If a person thinks bad and does it, God counts one bad deed. If he thinks bad but does not do it, this is already a good deed. If he thinks good but does not do it, it counts as if he did. And if he thinks and does good, there may be countless rewards. Therefore, it is very important to check your intentions, and loneliness is the very pause in which you can arrange an audit of everything you do. Loneliness helps you learn new things. Knowledge is not acquired at the time of acquisition. If you watched a video or listened to a podcast and immediately turned on the next one without giving yourself a pause, then the information from the first one simply won't stick. It will go into short-term memory and will be erased like an old file on a DVR when something new is recorded. Be sure to take pauses. Sit in silence for at least 5-10 minutes. Think about the information you receive, and it will be absorbed much more deeply. Loneliness gives rise to new thoughts and knowledge. Tapas. Ancient Sanskrit practices describe tapas, the birth of knowledge. A person goes into seclusion and, for example, does not speak for a week, tapas of speech, or covers his ears and does not listen to anyone, tapas of hearing, or closes his eyes and sees nothing, tapas of vision. It sharpens the rest of the senses. But it is important that during such loneliness, you are not distracted or annoyed by anything, and you are ready to take an honest look at yourself. If a person is not ready for truth and introspection, he can formally go into solitude, but inside, he continues to deceive himself. The conditions under which loneliness gives results. All 6 previous points work only when nothing distracts you, nothing annoys you, you are mature enough to be honest at least with yourself. You are ready to take full responsibility for your life and everything that happens in it. Do not try to go into solitude mechanically. Follow these conditions, and then loneliness will really give you the maximum benefit. Believe me, this is a very powerful tool. Personally, I prefer solitude to many hangouts. I like to be alone with myself and reflect. I'm sure each of you has your own stories related to loneliness. Someone doesn't like it at all. Someone is afraid of it. Write in the comments why you are afraid of it or don't like it. What scares you the most? Perhaps this way, you will be able to deal with many internal problems. If you love solitude and have had some epiphanies during it, share this experience too, so that others can see that loneliness is a really useful tool. How do I put loneliness into practice? It's not something I plan in advance, like a vacation, packing my bags and going somewhere far away. Even during the day, I have periods of loneliness. For example, when I wake up in the morning, I lie down for another 30 minutes, pronounce affirmations to myself, listen to my thoughts and dreams, the very points I mentioned above. It's a short period of loneliness. Further, when I watch an instructional video, I usually do it alone, and then turn it off and walk around the office or terrace, thinking about what I heard. This is also a form of loneliness, because nothing distracts or annoys me. Loneliness can also occur during short rest or sports activities. I often walk through the mountains for 1.5 to 2 hours. Even if my spouse walks with me, she puts on headphones and listens to her podcasts, and we don't talk. For me, this is also a kind of loneliness. Nothing distracts me, and I can talk to myself, with my soul, with my 4 controllers. Thus, loneliness is not a separate event, but something that can be integrated into your daily routine. Use this tool consciously and thoughtfully. If you want to learn more about other thinking practices and how to use loneliness, subscribe to my channel. Write your loneliness story in the comments.